Hello, my name is Nicholas, and I have been in the estimating career field for the past 10 years of my life. That's a long time, man. So I'm gonna tell you how estimating has changed my life, and yeah, I guess I'll see what you guys think about it. So first thing for why estimating has changed my life, it has provided a very handsome income. Yo, yeah, we definitely gonna talk money. If you've been a part of this channel or seen any of my past videos for a while, we gonna talk dollars, bro, because that's very important. People got bills to pay. People trying to get retired before 65. You trying to get retired at like 45, 35, and I'm 28. But hey, this career could put you there. So before the Air Force, before the career field that I'm in right now, which is estimating, the highest paid job or position that I've had was at like maybe 50 to 55 in the Air Force. If you want to include, count the fact that you don't have to pay for health care, it equals out to right around maybe 50 to 55,000 a year. And my first job out of the Air Force in estimating was 42.5, and seeing as that's not that far away from 50, like that was already, I guess, an okay starting place to hit versus like, being the homeless veteran, which is what I was horrified about experiencing. Being out here, living on the streets because I can't find a career to feed me and my wife and my kid. So, got into estimating at that range. From there, I ended up moving over to a job to where I made 52.5, and I ended up getting a raise to like 54. So already, this would probably be like maybe a year and a half into my estimating career. I was already, to the highest point that I had been before. And of course, because of the stuff that I've mentioned at the very beginning of this video, that drastically grew, more than doubling over the next 2 years after that point to currently where I'm at right now, 114,000. And so the money component is massive because it changed the way that I think. Like, I don't even necessarily look at money the way that I used to. I used to look at money as like being able to buy things, obviously, pay for rent, whatever. But now I look at money more as time. And, obviously everybody's heard, money is time and time is money. But like, I look at it more as like literally breaking down into like, what are our expenses over a month and then over a year, and thinking about being able to, cover those kind of outside of a job, basically what you would consider retirement to be, and that's what I'm starting to think more about, getting out of the workforce because of this job. And not necessarily because it's a bad job, just because it provides the income to be able to even think that way. Like, you can't really think that way at some of the lower salaries that I was talking about, because you probably won't ever get out of the job force at that lower of a salary level, So even if you retire, or even if you put a bunch of weight into retirement, and, which of course you can't even touch until you're 59 anyways, but brokerage accounts, all of that stuff, whatever. This isn't financial advice. So first reason. Second is, one of the things that one of my sergeants, which he sucked, but I'm not going to mention any names, in the Air Force, he was telling me that basically I wouldn't be able to find a job to where I could take care of my family and also be home with my family at the same time. And that was because a lot of his friends, or whoever he had been around that had already gotten out before him went into skilled trades that needs you physically there. So, a plumber or a welder or a carpenter or, any number of those sorts of things is probably where they had went into. And for a lot of those things, which is what I learned in project management too, is that there's a lot of travel associated with all of that stuff. And if you want to be home, then you have to figure out something else. And so I figured out something else. But the ability to work for 40 hours a week, because that's one thing, very rarely have I been fully expected to stay, way past, working 45, 50 hours a week or anything crazy like that in estimating. Because it could always be picked up the next day, like it's not something that needs to be fixed immediately, or there's going to be some crazy fine that comes out or something like that. Like it's just like completing takeoffs on a computer or some paper. So again, you can always come back to it. So yeah, that's the second point. Being home, working 40. And I guess, we'll go ahead and add the benefits into the first one. So, having healthcare coverage and 401k options and, being able to call out sick time and vacation time and all of that stuff. I mean, that didn't really change my life because that's all stuff that I had already experienced in the Air Force. But the money and the work schedule, definitely not. I mean, close in the Air Force, because for whatever reason, my job, it wasn't like a lot of the jobs to where they were working the crap out of us constantly. So it's not drastically different than what I was experiencing before. It may even be why I expected some of this stuff in the civilian world when I got out here. But yeah, those two. And I guess the career field offering stability would have to be the largest one, number 3. So I had stability somewhat in the Air Force. I mean, at any time, anything can change at anywhere, kind of. But for the most part, though, I'd say I had stability in the Air Force, and losing that stability, getting out of the Air Force, so that peace of mind of stability and a constant paycheck, definitely sucked. But, luckily I pretty much almost immediately found it. So that's what this career field has offered me, is not necessarily stable jobs, because I don't really know where you're going to find that. Like, good luck. I mean, I've seen estimators and project managers, which is pretty much all, wrapped into my career field that I'm talking about right now, who have been in place, in one specific company for, almost a decade or more. Especially when you start, talking about older guys or whatever, who kind of had the mindset of sticking with specific companies and company loyalty and all of that stuff. But it's more about the career field. Like, for instance, like a welder, right? Like, if you're a good welder, they need you. Maybe not this specific job anymore, and they maybe fire you or, lay you off or whatever, but somebody down the street needs something welded. And then down the street from them, they need something welded. And then if you go to Alaska on them pipelines for all that oil and stuff they got out there, they need a lot of y'all all over the daggone place. And it's pretty much the same for estimators, because pretty much any construction project where you have someone skilled going out and doing it, you're going to need someone to estimate the project to make sure that you know, people aren't blowing money, going over budget, whatever. So that's kind of the way to look at estimating, is like, maybe your specific job isn't necessarily the most stable, but once you start putting estimator on your resume, people will be calling. I don't go months without a job. I think the longest period of time that I've spent outside of a job since I've been estimating was maybe like a month and a half, I want to say, but probably right around a month. Now, here's another thing. I'm also not the person to put out 100 resumes and assume that someone's supposed to be talking to me. You know, like, more recently, I don't really even need to put out a resume. Like, I could pretty much just open Indeed and it'll see the fact that I've opened Indeed, and then my inbox on Indeed as well as my email will be flooded with people asking for if I want to, you know, go to their position versus the one that I'm at currently. That just came from, you know, being on there for a long enough time, and whatever, I don't know, maybe the algorithm, you know, the same way that people blow up on YouTube, maybe the Indeed algorithm finally got my number or something. I don't freaking know, but I basically, what I'm saying is, you are needed maybe on the level of like a nurse. Nurses are needed everywhere. Estimators are needed everywhere. And I was gonna go with 3, but I'll go a little bit further. I'll do number 4. Places, people, different locations, you know, projects, you know, here and there. I've been able to see more, you know, through project management and estimating, not just estimating, but throughout my entire career, I've pretty much always been either like estimator / project manager, because a lot of estimators will help manage the project along its way, or complete some of the project management duties during their time as an estimator. So I've been able to see a lot of the states that I didn't get to, you know, throughout my life, basically. I was able to see, you know, a few places overseas whenever I was still in the Air Force, but as far as states, that wasn't necessarily the case. And so that's been cool, you know, meeting people from different places, being able to get onto different sites and see different projects. Maybe not necessarily life-changing for me per se, but maybe for somebody. So I thought I'd mention it and add that onto there. But these are basically the ways that estimating has changed my life. My career field has changed my life, because I could easily have chose something differently and therefore, of course, gotten different results in life thus far. So yeah, hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps someone who's getting into estimating, or maybe remind someone who's already been in estimating of why they got in or what made it interesting for them. But like and share and subscribe the video so that it can actually get to those guys that I was just talking about who might benefit from it. Also, check the link in the description below. I have a link for my website that I have digital products that are related to estimating to get you up to speed in estimating. I know you don't specifically care about digital products, It's more about caring about getting you to where you need to go and whatever vehicle you need to get there. I got a consultant for you. Got a number down below to where you can get in contact with me so I can get you where you need to go to somebody's interview so that you can be sitting in somebody's desk making you some money and in their company. And I also have my school link down below in the description, and that is a community where I have my online courses related to estimating. I have 2 right now getting into estimating the basics basically, as well as one for software for Bluebeam specifically. And I will catch you guys on the next one. I appreciate your view. Thank you.